What's going on, everybody? Spunky Nice 91 coming at you with another video. Coming at you with my week 3 schedule prediction video. Week 2 was a week of a lot of surprises. You know, as always in the NFL, you just never know what's going to happen. There were quite some surprises last week. Quite some losses that I did not expect. Quite some wins that I did not expect. Results in general that I did not expect. NFL, you just never know. That's why they call it any given Sunday. So you just never know what's going to happen each week. This week, going on to week 3, the Eagles are welcoming back Carson Wentz. Very happy about that. It's been almost a year since Carson Wentz last played. Since that Rams game last year. So it's great to welcome him back. Colts, of course. The Eagles will of course be taking on the Colts. So you have an Andrew Luck versus Carson Wentz matchup. Looking forward to seeing that. You guys know how I do this. I go over the entire schedule for this week. And, of course, I save my team, the Philadelphia Eagles, for last. So, with that said, let's go and get started. Now, the first game that's going to be played tomorrow, Thursday, September 20th at 8:20 p.m., you have the New York Jets. The New York Jets traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. This game, I believe the Jets won their. I'm trying to remember. I know they won their first game against the Lions. I'm not 100% sure if they won their game last Sunday. I can't remember for sure. Anybody, correct me and let me know in the comment section if they won their game. The Cleveland Browns, of course, they lost to the New Orleans Saints. The Jets are led by quarterback Sam Darnold. The Cleveland Browns are led by quarterback Tyrod Taylor. This game it's not gonna be hard for me to predict this game here. I have the New York Jets traveling to Cleveland to beat the Browns, so that's my first prediction. Now moving on to the Sunday game, September 23rd. I'm starting off with the 1 p.m. games, 1 p.m. Eastern games. You have the New Orleans Saints traveling to Atlanta to take on the Atlanta Falcons. NFC South matchup here. Both of these teams were victorious in their games last week. The Saints beating the Browns and the Falcons beating the Carolina Panthers. Sean Payton, the head coach of the Saints. Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Falcons. The Saints are led by Drew Brees at quarterback, Alvin Kamara at running back. The Falcons, of course, are led by quarterback Matt Ryan, Julio Jones at wide receiver, Mohamed Sanu at wide receiver, Trufant at corner. This game is being played in Atlanta, and I think this is going to be a pretty good game. I'm going to give it to the Saints. I think the Saints will go to Atlanta, and they will beat the Falcons. So that's my prediction for that game. Now, the next 1 p.m. game, the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Both of these teams were victorious in their games last week. 49ers getting the win against the Detroit Lions. The Chiefs getting the win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Quite an amazing game between the Steelers and the Chiefs, man. Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback of the Chiefs, put on one hell of a show. I think 6 touchdown passes he threw. Just an amazing game by him. The 49ers, of course, are led by Kyle Shanahan, the head coach. The head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, is Andy Reid. The 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. Like I said, the Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Richard Sherman at corner for the 49ers. The Chiefs have Tyreek Hill at running back. At wide receiver. Wide receiver. They have Travis Kelce at tight end. This game's being played at Kansas City, and I'm giving it to the Chiefs. I had the Chiefs beating the San Francisco 49ers in Kansas City. Should be a pretty good game to watch. The next game, the Oakland Raiders traveling to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins. Oakland Raiders lost their game last week to the Denver Broncos. Can't remember for sure if the Dolphins lost their game or not. Let me know in the comment section. This game, the head coach of the Oakland Raiders, of course, John Gruden. Adam Gase, the head coach of the Dolphins. The Raiders quarterback, of course, is Derek Carr. Marshawn Lynch at running back. Amari Cooper at wide receiver. The Dolphins, of course, have Tannehill at quarterback. This game's being played in Miami, and I got the Miami Dolphins beating the Oakland Raiders in Miami. Next game, you had the Buffalo Bills at the Minnesota Vikings. Buffalo Bills not only lost their game, but they also lost their quarterback. Vontae Davis announced his retirement at halftime during that game last week against the Chargers. Crazy way to retire, right? The Vikings, they tied their NFC North rivalry game against the Green Bay Packers. Of course, Sean McDermott's the head coach of the Bills. They have Shea McCoy at running back. They have Kelvin Benjamin at wide receiver. Minnesota Vikings, of course, have Kirk Cousins at quarterback. They have Diggs and Thielen at wide receiver. This game is being played in Minnesota, and I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings to beat the Bills in Minnesota. Skipping over the Eagles and Colts games for last, of course. Next 1 p.m. game I'm going over is the Green Bay Packers traveling to Washington to take on the Washington Redskins. Green Bay Packers, of course, they tied their game last week. The Redskins lost to the Indianapolis Colts last week. The quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, of course, is Aaron Rodgers. McCarthy's the head coach of the Packers. Randall Cobb at wide receiver. The Washington Redskins, of course, have Jay Gruden at head coach. They have Al Smith at quarterback. Adrian Peterson at Adrian Peterson at running back. This game's being played in Washington, but I got the Green Bay Packers traveling to Washington, Landover, Maryland. Yeah, Landover, Maryland to beat the Washington Redskins. The next 1 p.m. game, the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Charlotte, to take on the Carolina Panthers. 1 p.m. game. Marvin Lewis, head coach of the Bengals. Ron Rivera, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. The quarterback, of course, is Andrew Dalton for the Cincinnati Bengals. The quarterback, of course, for the Panthers is Cam Newton. AJ Green at wide receiver for the Bengals. Joe Mixon at running back. The Panthers have trying to think that guy's name. Can't remember McCaffrey. McCaffrey at running back. They have Greg Olsen at tight end. Luke Kuechly at linebacker. This game is being played in Carolina, and I got the Panthers beating the Bengals. The next 1 p.m. game, the Tennessee Titans are traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, Marcus Mariota is the quarterback of the Titans. The head coach of the Jaguars is Doug Marrone. They have Blake Bortles at head coach. Blake Bortles at quarterback. Sorry about that. Blake Bortles at quarterback. Doug Marrone at head coach. This game's being played in Jacksonville, and I got the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Tennessee Titans. That's an AFC South matchup. Next 1 p.m. game, you have the Denver Broncos traveling to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Denver Broncos were victorious in their game against the Raiders last week. Baltimore Ravens, can't remember for sure, but I believe the Ravens. The Ravens lost their game. They lost their game to the Cincinnati Bengals. They lost their game to the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Of course, the head coach of the Ravens is Harbaugh. The quarterback of the Broncos is Case Keenum, of course. They have Von Miller at linebacker, Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas at wide receiver. The Baltimore Ravens, of course, have Joe Flacco at quarterback. This game's being played in Baltimore, and I got the Baltimore Ravens beating the Denver Broncos. I got the Baltimore Ravens beating the Denver Broncos in Baltimore. Now the last 1 p.m. game, other than the Eagles game, of course, you got the New York Giants at the Houston Texans. 1 p.m. game. New York Giants lost to the Dallas Cowboys last Sunday night. The Houston Texans, can't remember for sure if they won their game or not. Let me know in the comment section. The New York Giants, of course, are led by head coach Pat Shurmur. The Texans are led by O'Brien, the head coach. Quarterback Eli Manning. The Giants quarterback is Eli Manning. Saquon Barkley at running back. Of course, they have Odell Beckham at wide receiver, Landon Collins at linebacker, Janoris Jenkins at corner. The Houston Texans are led by quarterback Deshaun Watson. They have Hopkins at wide receiver, J.J. Watt at safety. At defensive end, Jadeveon Clowney as well at defensive end. This game's being played in Houston, and I got the Houston Texans beating the New York Giants. Now moving on to the later afternoon 4 o'clock games. First game I got on here is the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. So a battle of Los Angeles. Both of these teams were victorious in their games last week. The Chargers beating up on the Buffalo Bills. The Rams beating up on the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, the quarterback of the Chargers, Phil Rivers. Jared Goff, of course, is the quarterback of the Rams. Sean McVay, head coach of the Rams. They have Gurley at running back. They have Sue and Donald at defensive end. This game, of course, being played in Los Angeles, Battle of Los Angeles. I got the Rams beating the Chargers. So yes, I got the Rams starting on 3-0 this year. Next game, you have the Chicago Bears traveling to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. The Bears were victorious in their Monday Night Football game against the Seattle Seahawks. The Cardinals lost in a blowout to the Los Angeles Rams last week. Of course, Mr. Trubisky is the quarterback of the Bears. Sam Bradford, quarterback of the Cardinals. This game's being played in Arizona, but I got the Bears going to Arizona and beating the Cardinals. Next game is the Dallas Cowboys traveling to Seattle to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Cowboys were victorious in their game last Sunday night against the New York Giants. Seattle Seahawks fell to the Chicago Bears. Of course, Jason Garrett's the head coach of the Cowboys. Pete Carroll's the head coach of the Seahawks. The Cowboys are led by quarterback Dak Prescott, running back Ezekiel Elliott, Sean Lee at linebacker. The Seattle Seahawks are led by quarterback Russell Wilson. They have the Griffin twins at corner and linebacker respectively. This game, Doug Baldwin at wide receiver for the Seahawks. This game's being played in Seattle. And as much as I would love to take the Seahawks to beat the Cowboys, I would really love to do that. But I'm going to give it to the Cowboys. I'm going to give this game to the Cowboys. But I would not be surprised if the Seahawks win this game. But I'm going to give it to the Cowboys, though. Okay, the Sunday Night Football game. Sunday Night Football game, you have the New England Patriots traveling to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions, 8:20 p.m. The Patriots lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. The Detroit Lions lost to the San Francisco 49ers last week. LeGarrette Blount's second opportunity to get revenge on his former team. Remember, he got revenge on his former team in the Super Bowl with my Eagles last year. But he got his second chance to get revenge. Of course, this is also Patricia versus Bill Belichick. Patricia, obviously the former defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. So also him taking on his former, I guess you would say his mentor, I guess you would say, Bill Belichick, two defensive-minded coaches. The quarterback, of course, of the Patriots is Tom Brady. The quarterback of the Lions is Matthew Stafford. Hogan is at wide receiver for the Patriots. They have Gronk at tight end. The Lions have Golden Tate wide receiver, LeGarrette Blount at running back. This game's being played in Detroit, but I'm giving it to the Patriots to go to Detroit and beat the Lions. Now, for the Monday Night Football game, 8:15 p.m., you have the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Pittsburgh Steelers lost their game to the Chiefs last week. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were victorious against my Eagles last week. Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Steelers. The quarterback, of course, of the Steelers is Big Ben Roethlisberger. They have Antonio Brown, the best receiver in the league, in my opinion. The Bucs have Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback, O.J. Howard at tight end. They have Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, Deshaun Jackson at wide receiver. This game's being played in Tampa Bay. But I'm giving it to the Steelers. I think the Steelers will go into Tampa Bay and beat them on Monday Night Football. The Steelers right now are hungry for a win. They lost their game. They tied their game against the Browns, and they lost their game. They lost their game against the Chiefs last week, so I think they will be hungry. I think they will be a pissed-off team, and I got them going to Tampa Bay and beating the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers, little, I guess you would say their high moment comes to an end on Monday night against the Steelers. Now, for the very last game, my Philadelphia Eagles versus the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts come into Philadelphia to play my Philadelphia Eagles. I cannot wait for this game. Carson Wentz is back, baby. Carson Wentz is back, baby. I know he is so happy to be back after being out for nearly a year. Andrew Luck, obviously the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, was out for a whole year last year. This is Doug Peterson versus Frank Reich, our former offensive coordinator, who is now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. The T.Y. Hilton's a wide receiver for the Colts. Of course, wide receiver, we just brought back Jordan Matthews. We have Nelson Aguilar, wide receiver. This game's going to be played in. This game is going to be played in Philadelphia. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. Andrew Luck versus Carson Wentz. I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I got the Eagles beating the Indianapolis Colts in a close game. Yes, I had the Eagles beating the Colts. So there you have it, man. That's my schedule prediction for Week 3 of the 2018 NFL season. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you got a schedule prediction, go ahead and put it in the comment section. I would definitely read it. But until later, as always, go Birds. Fly, Eagles, fly. Peace.